Another day, another funny piece of discourse when it comes to the fighting game community. And it's not even technically another piece of discourse. It's the same old discourse, the same old arguments, the same old song and dance as it's always been. Nothing new has come. Hey, Moonspire, I could have swore you had already subbed for 12 months. So I guess you've now subbed for 13, but for some reason it says it's only been 12. I can't believe you've been subbed for a year. That's fucking awesome. I really appreciate you. I could have swore that you had already been subbed for 12 months. I thought the last one said 12, so this one should say 13. Regardless, I appreciate the Prime. If anybody else wants to use their Prime, appreciate. So, tournaments have the same. I thought so too. I don't know. Yeah, I was real confused. So, tournaments have long since been the best way to find out who the best player in a given game is, right? Most people consider high-level tournament play to be the most important. Gonna lurk while I milper. Appreciate that. Becomes like it's where people decide who the best players are in the world, in the region, wherever, right? It could be in outer space. Who gives a shit, right? And because of that, we have to make these rules and regulations for the sanctity of competitive play, right? We can't do things that are unspirited for competitive play, like banning extremely overpowered characters or removing stages from stage lists that are random in nature or maybe just have some sort of stage hazard like Super Smash Brothers, or even, I guess in the sense of a Mortal Kombat 9, those banned stages because shit would literally cause the game to slow down. Like the stage was too intensive for its specific. I'm gonna move this. There we go. So we can actually see this stuff. So currently, the newest game that's about to come to market is Street Fighter 6, and people have been getting their hands on the game by some legal means, using the Street Fighter 6 demo, waiting for the beta to be coming up, playing the last two betas that have already happened, and others have been playing the ROM hack, the crack of the beta, to continue to play and develop new tech and find kind of the underlying, day one, month one meta of the game to see exactly how things are going to be. And because of that, people are already sure that they know what they want when it comes to tournament play, right? And we could be talking about stages, we could be talking about characters, but right now we're actually just talking about format, right? Tournaments have a lot of different formats. In card games, they use Swiss. Some big esports style events use round robin, right? Where like it's group stage, everyone plays everyone, and then it plays out into a bracket. Sweet, I'll add you after I'm done. Got you. Others use, and I think the others is usually fighting games, right? So Super Smash Brothers, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Tekken, Soul Calibur, Guilty Gear, all of these, Brawlhalla, right? If you want to consider Brawlhalla a fighting game, I don't. All of these use a bracket system. And the way brackets work is it is usually either one, double elimination, which means you lose once, or it's single elimination or double elimination, where there's a winner's bracket and loser's bracket, or only a winner's bracket. When you lose, you're out. And that bracket just has a certain number of players in it, and those players play as many times as possible, as many rounds as possible, until they make it to the end, right? So currently, the way things work for most fighting games, I really like the Street Fighter 6 demo. I'm super excited for the open beta. I hope you're going to join the open beta, even though it's on PS4, so that we can get some games. That'd be sick. So currently, the way that it works is most tournaments run best of 3, or first to 2, whatever you want to call it, until top 16, top 8, sometimes even like top 32, depending on how big or stacked the bracket is. Like after pool, right? After pool, so top 48. The rest of it's all best of 5, or first 3, or it was a smaller bracket, so only top 16, or only top 8 will be best of 5 or first 2, 3, right? I have to explain it both ways because some people only know it one way or the other. And the current discourse is the same old song and dance discourse we've had for a long time, and that discourse is Street Fighter 6 should, like most other games, run first to 3 as often as reasonably possible with scheduling. I have no idea why people are okay with letting the worst player win so much more often, which often occurs in first to two. So he's hard advocating for the game to be run always first to three, reasonably win with proper scheduling. I think that's the part people missed, but we'll still have to touch on that. And then we'll look at what Big Bird said. Big Bird is another really strong fighting game player. This guy is actually mainly a Street Fighter player. Leffen plays a lot of fighting games, plays Super Smash Bros. Melee, Guilty Gear Strive, Dragon Ball FighterZ for a while when that was pretty big. Seeing people disagree about Street Fighter 6 being 3 out of 5 for any reason other than scheduling issues really boggles my mind. Why wouldn't anyone be against more games if allowed? Man. So I think that is the big deal, right? Is everyone wants more games. And I want to preface that. Everyone wants more games. If everyone had all the time in the world, we'd be doing round robins. But unfortunately, we don't, right? The key part of that tweet that people are really getting stressed over what Leffen said is reasonably with scheduling. Reasonably with scheduling. I don't know how to say that again. Let me just rewind that. Let me say it again. Reasonably with scheduling. I don't normally agree with Leffen. And I don't fully agree with Leffen. Because do I think that a first to two over a first to three makes the better player win more often? Not really. I think if a player is ready for everything in their bracket path, because it's not just about the best player in the room. I guess this is where we have to take a little tangent, right? So what Leffen said here is letting the worst player win so much more often, which often occurs in first to two. So what I want everyone to understand is that there are so many factors to a tournament. If you've ever been to a fighting game tournament or any tournament really, right? I've played in card game tournaments of many kinds, Force of Will, Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh, right? I've played a lot of different fighting games. I've been in a lot of different fighting game tournament brackets. Mortal Kombat X, Mortal Kombat 9, Soul Calibur 5, Soul Calibur 6, Samurai Showdown, just a whole host of games, right? I could name more, but they're fantasy, right? I could name more, but there's no point, right? What you will understand, or what you will figure out very quickly when you play in a fighting game tournament, it is not only about how good of a player you are, it is about your composure. It's about how much sleep you got. It is if you ate the day before. It is about your matchups. It is about your bracket path. There are so many factors to put into play. So saying that this one thing, first to three over first to two, will make the better player win more often is completely asinine. You could be the best player in the room, motherfucker, but if you didn't sleep the night before and the second best player in the room did, and you are slow on your reactions, the second best player in the room is going to overhead you 4 times and going to fucking cook you. And it doesn't matter if it's first to two or first to three, because he's the second best player in the room, and you weren't playing your best that day, even though you are the best player in the room, right? You can't look at it just as like cut and dry, simple and clean, black and white. There is always a gray area to everything. That is the first part of Leffen's tweet that I disagree with. The other part is totally fine, right? So the part that everyone else disagreed with, if every match was best of 5, we'll never leave the venue. Yeah, that's the same reason why we don't do first to 7 for everything. That's the same reason why we don't do round robin for everything, right? In these bigger, large style bracket events, you better be prepared for first to 2. Just practice and be prepared for first to 2. Can you adapt in a first to 2? Like, that is also a skill set. So, are you the best player in the room at first to 3? Are you the best player in the room at first to 5? Are you the best player in the room at first to 2? Are you the best player in the room at first to 1? Like, what are you, right? That really matters, because you have to be adaptable, right? Magic the Gathering major tournaments, like Pro Tours, don't just have one format. They don't just have Standard or Pioneer or Modern, right? They also have Draft or Limited. Because if you are the best player in the room at Constructed and you made the best deck for the event, and you have a clear matchup path against every deck in the room, and your deck is the deck to beat, you still have to be good at Draft. You still have to be good at building a deck on the fly, pod style, against other great, proven Magic the Gathering players. This is the same concept. You have to be able to go into a bracket and play against other proven metal fighting game players, wanting to beat your ass in 2 sets as fast as possible. Now, do I think if we had all the time in the world, first to 5 sounds great. First to 3, best of 5 sounds great. It sure does, right? But we don't. There's a lot of factors for that, right? Tournaments already usually kind of go long sometimes. If you've ever watched a fighting game tournament on Twitch or in real life, or commentated a fighting game tournament, or been in one, right? Offline or online, you know that a lot of times scheduling is not as tight-knit as it should be, and it's not because of the player. I mean, it's not because of the venue. Usually, it's because of the players. It's because TOs don't want to DQ people. They'll wait the 5 minutes. That's what's in the time schedule. They wait the 5 minutes. The player gets there on time, and the player's match goes to a 1-1. 2-1. 2-1 final round. Every game was a final round or whatever, right? So that holds up. Each individual match like that holds up the bracket further and further and further and further. Every single one of those. First to 5. I mean, a best of 5 sounds great, right, for the competitors. But maybe the spectators are a little more bored. Maybe, just maybe, the commentators' day rates go up. So you're getting worse commentators because the commentators who would do the job if it was best of 2, if it was best of 3 the whole time and take their day rate, are now asking for a higher day rate because they're doing more work. TOs, bracket runners, have to work longer, and now they need more money. If they're not volunteer, right? Because a lot of these things are volunteer. But if they're not, all of that goes up. So, they raise the venue fee. Okay, they raise the venue fee. Less people show up to the event. This is all hypothetical. This could all happen. Just like the best player in the room could lose because he didn't have a first to 3. All hypotheticals, but like when you look at that, the one thing that you're doing for competitors has all these repercussions for everyone else involved. The head TO, the bracket runners, the stream stations, the stream team, whatever, the commentators. All of that gets either inflated price-wise, the cost of internet, the amount of matches be able to be streamed because you can't stream as many matches because more matches are best of 5. There's a lot of factors that go into making a tournament all first to 5, right? Especially for very big tournaments. For very big tournaments. For larger tournaments, sure. Like my local scene for a long time, we ran Soul Calibur as a best of 5. Soul Calibur 6, and I think we even ran Mortal Kombat as a first to 5 because Mortal Kombat is so volatile and it's super easy to die. Soul Calibur is a very slow game. I'm not sure why we did, but everyone asked if we could, and I said yes. I was like, sure, whatever, right? So it just depends on how often it's allowed and how often it's applicable. And the problem is, if at the highest level of competition, at premieres, the brackets are going to be bigger, very big, right? Especially in this first year of Capcom Pro Tour competition. That means that it's going to be significantly less likely that most of the bracket will be first to 3. Best of 5. Which means that if you're at locals or at a regional practicing and the entire event is first to 5 because it's smaller and you convince the TO to do so, you are becoming less prepared for the big stage, for the Capcom Premier events, for the Capcom Pro Tour. Because all of those things are going to run on a standard first to 2 basis until top 8 or top 16 or top 48 or top 64, depending on how big the bracket is. So it's not that I disagree with Leffen and Big Bird, because I agree. I would like more games. More games is cool. There's nothing wrong with more games. More games is nice. But more games isn't going to solve the issue of you being worse that day. Hey, Tara. My cat's right here. Tara, do you agree? Tara, how do you feel about first to 5 versus first to 2? I'm sorry, first to 3 versus first to 2. How do you feel, Tara? Best of 3 or best of a 5? Tell them. Spit. I think she said she doesn't like it. She doesn't like the Discourse. She wants everyone to just be nice to each other, be nice to the TOs, and be nice to the formats and adapt to the formats that we have. Because it's the best it's going to get. Especially with how big Street Fighter 6 is, I think we should do a wait and see. I think we should wait and see if time allows, and see if it's necessary. Because a lot of the discourse around this and the argument around this is, oh man, I saw this full resource combo that killed someone in 2 touches. He 2-touched me with full drive gauge and 3 bars a meter. Bro, we need this to be first to 5. That's so volatile. That's crazy. Dude, I need 9 games to adapt to this shit. That's the discourse that I've seen. And sure, yeah, most of us are gonna die in most fighting games in 2 to 3 touches with full fucking resources. That's just how most fighting games work now. You die in 2 to 3 touches, no resources in Samurai Showdown, and the neutral is slow, just like Street Fighter. So no one says that game needs to be first to 5. First to 3, sorry. First to 3, best of 5. Right? I think that overall, for the community, it's probably worse to have first to 3. It's probably worse because there could be so many extra repercussions for everyone involved minus the top players, right? And it's not that, oh, well, I've never been a top player in a fighting game. That's not entirely true. I've been a very strong player in a few fighting games, especially in my local area and in my regional area. Been pretty good at Soul Calibur for what it's worth. And if the whole bracket was first to 2, I just did my best in the format I could, right? Made it to top 4, top 3, top 1 in a lot of tournaments because I'm prepared for the formats at hand. Instead of bitching about them and trying to change them, I'm just prepared for them, right? That's just how it is. If first to 2 doesn't suit you, I mean, if it's a fast-paced game, sure, why not? Street Fighter is always slower. Street Fighter may be significantly faster than it used to be, right, when it comes to the neutral game, but the damage in Street Fighter has never been low. I don't know if you guys have ever played Super Turbo or Third Strike. You can die in 2 to 3 touches. You can get 1 touch by Blanca because you got stunned in Street Fighter 2, in Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Okay, like ST is a volatile game with volatile matchups, fucked up mix-ups, and disgusting neutral, right? So sometimes you never get in and you're fighting against fireballs the entire time when you're fighting Sagat. Sometimes you get uppercutted by Sagat 2 times back to back because you're trying to throw tech and he fucking kills you because he stunned you into full combo. So there's no such thing. I mean, best of 3 is fine. I think if it's fast paced, what you would want is you would want best of 5 because that means you need more time to adapt and the games go fast enough that it's reasonable, right? But you never know, right? And you can't go backwards. You can't go backwards. Once you start as best of 5, the community will never accept you going down to first to 3. It's impossible. It took forever for Yu-Gi-Oh players to stop being pissed about the new time rules. The time rules changed about 4 years ago, 5 years ago. I'm still pissed about them, by the way. Where when time in the round is called in most card games, Magic the Gathering, it goes 0, 1, 2, 3. Right, or 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One or the other. Some games do 6 from 0. Some games do 3 from 0. So 4 turns. If time in the round is called on your turn, you are turn 0. They are 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. Right. Yu-Gi-Oh decided we're going to extend the round timer by 5 minutes. And after that, when time in the round is called, when the current phase of whoever's turn is over, whoever has the highest life points at the end of the current phase wins. So if you cannot make it into your battle phase to start jamming in with all your monsters, start hitting with blue eyes white dragons and dark magicians and fucking red eyes dark dragons, if you can't get into your battle phase and you're in main phase and you don't have any burn effects in your main phase and you both have the same amount of life points, it's a draw. Get cooked. And it was a very weird way to change, right? Because they wanted to speed things up. They needed to speed things up. They needed things faster. We got to get on to these next rounds because they didn't have enough time. They did all that because they didn't have enough time. Because it's a card game. You do have to think. Even if you know your lines, even if you know your decision trees, it's a card game. It's a hard game. It's not even just a card game. It's a fucking hard game. Okay? Same thing with fighting games. Even if you know your routes, your bread and butters, your combos, your counter hit confirms, you still have to find a way to land that hit without your opponent landing that hit. You still have to play safely enough that you can get your damage in without also taking as much in attrition wars. Especially with the drive gauge being a thing now in Street Fighter 6. And meter being so easy to get a hold of because your meter is separated from your EX moves. It's only your super gauge. So there's going to be a lot of mental stack and a lot of decision making in a game like that. It is not going to be super fast paced like Guilty Gear Strive. So because of that, first to 3 just seems a little ridiculous to start off with. May as well just get it started with the tried and true first to 2 up until Top Cut. I call it Top Cut because I'm a card game player. Oops. And then move into first to 3 or best of 5. This discourse will happen every time a new game comes out. And I'm not entirely sure why it comes up every single time when we know how long tournaments run behind. Evo is literally only doing top 6s in the arena instead of top 8s. If that is not an indication that they do not have enough time with already only doing first to 2s for most of the bracket, you're blind. All of you, every single one of you who agrees with this wholeheartedly and thinks TO should make time. If TOs make time, they will lose numbers or have to raise venue fees or have to raise the cost and will probably have to raise the pay for bracket runners who are paid and commentators because they are doing more work. They're going to ask for higher day rates and it's going to be your fault. You're like, wow, why is my venue fee $90 instead of $70? What happened? You wanted fucking first to 5. You wanted first to 3, best of 5 the whole weekend. Why do we have 8 a.m. pools again? Oh no, 8 a.m. pools disappeared. 8 a.m. pools have completely been eradicated from fighting games. We start at 10 a.m. for most tournaments, sometimes even 12, depending on how big the bracket is. 8 a.m. pools used to be very normal for very large tournaments. I promise you. I've been to some 8 a.m. pool. I've been to an 8 a.m. pool before, 2 times. I'm used to being up at 8 a.m. It's not that bad for me. It's bad for other people, and they complained about it. And now 8 a.m. pools are gone, and now we start at 10. And that trickle down happens the next day and the next day. So top 8s have to start sooner on Sunday morning so they can get out of the venue on time. Say you do that with first to 3s. I'm out of ad hell. Nice. I appreciate the support. Ads are support for me. I do get paid from ads. I don't get a lot of money from ads, but I get money from ads. I don't get money from YouTube, but I do enjoy making YouTube videos talking about things in the fighting game community, arcade sticks, fighting games, and of course, maybe some Street Fighter 6 early tutorials when the beta comes around, and the main game as well. So if you like my content, please subscribe to the channel on YouTube. Come over to the Twitch, where I do these talk segments live every couple of days and play a whole host of video games. Of course, I'm a big fan of video games. That's why we're here. And like the video. Leave a comment down below about how you feel about the potential of all brackets being first to 3 instead of first to 2. If it really affects you as the best player in the room in your region of Iowa or wherever you're from. Anyways, this has been Beanie Thuggish for the YouTube, signing out and saying peace.